If most of your coronavirus tests come back positive, you're not testing enough. To be fair, most aren't testing enough. I think this is why the mortality rate is so high, because realistically there's significantly more people out there that have it or have had it and were never tested. Why aren't we testing sewage? There are detectable levels of the virus showing up at treatment plants. I know that there are plenty of variables that are hard to control for, but it would at least show trends and possibly relative ratios of infection between cities. UW Virology in Seattle has been showing 10 to 15% positive rates for weeks now. It's around 10% in TN, too. And I still think they aren't testing enough. Where in the US is the positive rate over 50%? My wife has had symptoms for almost a week now. We were told she wouldn't be tested unless she had a fever of 105 or couldn't breathe. If that's the case, I'm not taking her to get tested, I'm just taking her to the hospital. For patients, PCR or antibody testing are not as important as clinical diagnosis right now. If CT scan shows that lungs are in bad conditions, a patient needs to be taken in and treated as if he or she has COVID-19. Some Canadian provinces are now very selective on who they test, making our numbers very low. Yup, I had textbook symptoms last week. Denied testing by public health, and when I called the ER they told me tests are for medical staff only. Now there is an outbreak of it at the hospital, so much for testing staff or anyone else for that matter. I was also told not to call 911 unless I am unresponsive, lol thanks. You are not testing enough, not because you want to know the real number, you want to know the real people and isolate them so they would not stay at home infecting their family or community members. Plainly obvious. In my county in upstate New York, they're only testing if you have gotten to the point where you'd potentially be admitted to the hospital. So, all of our tests are going to be positive almost 100% of the time. Damn, I live in upstate NY as well, but our county has been doing a lot of testing. And LT, 7% positive rate. Most where I live are of the mindset of it's just the flu bro, but they are starting to get bad sick. The testing in my area takes 6 to 16 days and they will give you a bill for $400 plus. I live in a poor area, so the price tag scares off most. Water is wet, sky is blue. We all know this, but there aren't enough tests to go around. I'm really disappointed this didn't end with a rhyme. True, according to the RKI, about 25 of 1,000 tests returned positive in Germany. That's surprising. In my region you need both symptoms and one of membership in a risk group/contact, 15 minutes in a closed room, with a confirmed case/works in retirement home or a hospital. Figured that would mean more of the tests returned positive. My wife had it and I haven't been tested because the assumption is that I probably have it too. We've self-quarantined, but I assume that we are like many people. So for every one positive, assume at least 2 to 4 more untested, but infected. Hope she's okay and I hope you're feeling well. Hit me up if you need to talk. Definitely this. I was comparing US's cases/tests with Canada on Saturday with a coworker. NY had a 1 in 3 positive rate compared to 1 in 6 as a whole for the US. By comparison, my province is about 1 in 40 and Canada about 1 in 75. I think they need to step up the testing for sure. There are probably so many people who have had this or have this they don't even know that the numbers will only start to make sense once they have been tested. Would be nice to see an antibody test that can detect whether you have had it in the past. The current motto of most of America right now is, blissfully ignorant. Source, Midwest, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, mostly not listening and still think it's a hoax. This is why this thing is going to keep floating around the entire planet until we have a vaccine. We literally have too many stupid people in the human population for containment to be remotely possible. Is sore throat/extreme lightheadedness symptoms of coronavirus? My mother had an awful sore throat 2 days ago. She went walking with my father and returned an hour ago nearly passed out saying she's lightheaded, and it started 30 minutes into an hour-long walk. It's WA state, so it's not hot at all, cold if anything, but I am concerned. Any help from anyone would be great. Makes sense, but it's not possible to test everyone in the world. Stay home and go out with a mask seems more practical. Until when? Because if we're not mass testing on a huge scale, then all we're doing is delaying the curve, not flattening it. Eventually people will reach a point where they have to get back to their lives as normal, and a hell of a lot less people will die if most people have some means of knowing whether or not they're going to get infected by going out into the world like normal. We aren't testing enough because our state DPH only allocates 15 days/day for our large facility. We can send the rest to Quest, which currently has a 5 to 6 day turnaround time. We'd sure love to test more, but testing isn't available. Since we are only testing those with symptoms in the US, we are missing all those that are asymptomatic and contagious. Yes, but without cough, people will be less contagious likely. Of course, COVID-19 poses great danger with asymptomatic people because it has His R0 equals 2.3.